Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a massive headache for anyone who's ever tried building a small off-grid solar setup. We are going to break down the exact precision-engineered math you need to properly size a 12-volt solar battery system specifically for running a TV and a decoder. We're tossing the guesswork out the window today. We're going to use real electrical calculations to make sure your system actually works exactly the way you need it to. You know the feeling. You hook up a TV and a decoder to a 12-volt system, you do this simple back-of-the-napkin math, and then you watch in sheer frustration as your battery completely dies right in the middle of a movie or the evening news. Trust me, you're not alone. It's incredibly common. You followed the basic tutorials, you bought the recommended battery, and it still fails. It kind of feels like a mystery, right? Well, today we're solving that mystery by looking at the hidden physics that those generic tutorials completely ignore. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our exact roadmap. First, the battery drain mystery. 2, calculating real energy needs. 3, the hidden inverter tax. 4, lead acid versus LFP04. 5, silent risks and safety. And 6, your final system specs. Section 1, the battery drain mystery and why basic math fails. So why exactly do so many small home solar owners get hit with this unexpected, rapid battery drain? It honestly all boils down to this common trap. Most basic guides tell you to just take the wattage of your TV, say 100 watts, multiply it by the hours you want to watch, and boom, that's your battery size. But that simple formula, it's a total illusion. It's a trap that completely ignores the reality of conversion losses, battery chemistry, and safety margins. Relying on this simple equation practically guarantees your system is going to underperform. Section 2. Calculating real energy needs. Step-by-step load math. Let's throw that basic math out the window and build our initial energy requirement from the ground up. Step 1, look at the actual load. A typical modern LED TV pulls about 100 watts, but you're probably not staring at a blank screen, right? You've got a satellite decoder or a streaming box plugged in, which adds another 20 watts, so your true load is 120 watts. Step 2, define your usage. Let's say you want a realistic 5 hours of nighttime viewing. Step 3, multiply that 120 watts by 5 hours. That gives us a base requirement of 600 watt-hours. But listen, if you stop right here, your battery will die. The 600 watt-hours is literally just our starting line. Section 3, the hidden inverter tax, DC to AC conversion. To understand why that 600 watt-hours isn't enough, we have to look at the equipment sitting right between your battery and your TV. This is the very first major point of failure in most DIY setups. Now, what's really interesting about this is the number 85%. You see, your battery stores DC power, but your TV and decoder plug into an outlet that requires AC power. To bridge that gap, you use an inverter. But inverters aren't magical, perfectly efficient boxes. They have to work hard to convert that power, and they lose energy doing it. Mostly as heat. For the small inverters typically used in these setups, they run at about an 85% efficiency rate. That means 15% of your battery's power is just gone, lost simply translating the energy for your TV. So how do we account for this? Well, we have to pay the toll. We take our base requirement of 600 watt-hours and divide it by that inverter efficiency of 0.85. Suddenly, our required energy balloons up to about 706 watt-hours. That inefficiency acts as a literal tax on your battery. If you didn't account for this, you'd be shorting yourself over 100 watt-hours right out of the gate. That's almost a full extra hour of TV watching just vanishing into thin air. Next, we've got to translate those AC watt-hours into something our DC battery understands, amp-hours. Since we're building a 12-volt system, we take that adjusted 706 watt-hours and divide it by 12 volts. That gives us roughly 59 amp-hours. So you just run to the store and buy a 60 amp-hour battery, right? Absolutely not. We still haven't accounted for the biggest, most critical variable of the entire build. Section 4. Lead acid versus LiFePO4. Chemistry matters. Your choice of battery chemistry creates a massive divide in how you size the final system. All batteries are simply not created equal, and treating them like they are is a fast track to frying your equipment. To get this, we have to understand depth of discharge, or DOD. Depth of discharge is the maximum percentage of a battery's total capacity that you can safely utilize without causing permanent, irreversible damage. It's kind of like the gas tank in an airplane. You can't just fly until the needle reads completely empty or you're going to crash. If you buy a basic 59 amp hour battery and drain all 59 amp hours out of it every single night, it's going to suffer an early, very expensive death. And this brilliantly illustrates how the difference between these two chemistries dictates everything. A traditional lead-acid or AGM battery has a safe depth of discharge of only 50%. That means to safely use 59 amp hours, we actually have to divide by 0.5. You need a battery with a capacity of 118 amp hours. So in the real world, you're buying a minimum 120 amp hour lead-acid battery. But look at LiFePO4, lithium iron phosphate. It boasts an 80% usable DOD. We take our 59 amp hours, divide by 0.8, and we only need about 74 amp hours. A 75 amp hour lithium battery will do the exact same job as a massive 120 amp hour lead-acid battery. The chemistry literally dictates your entire shopping list. Section 5. Silent risks and safety. Protecting your setup. All right, so we've got our battery sizes, but having enough power is honestly only half the battle. We need to shift gears from the math formulas to the real-world physical dangers of setting up a 12-volt system. Let's talk current. Pulling 120 watts of power on a 12-volt system means you are drawing about 10 continuous amps. Now, 120 watts might sound tiny because in a normal 110 or 220-volt house, it is. But at 12 volts, 10 amps is a surprisingly high amount of current. It's like trying to force a rushing river through a tiny garden hose. If you use thin, cheap wires for 10 amps over 5 solid hours, those wires will act like a toaster. They're going to heat up, cause severe voltage drops, and basically just waste your precious battery energy as heat. Then, we have another silent danger: inverter idle draw. This is the phantom power vampire of the solar world. Inverter idle draw is the 10 to 20 watts of continuous power an inverter consumes simply by being turned on, even if the TV is completely switched off. If you watch your 5 hours of TV, hit power off on the remote, but leave the actual inverter switched on all night long, it's going to sit there draining 10 to 20 watts every single hour. By morning, you will have lost a massive chunk of your battery capacity to absolutely nothing. So here are your absolute safety non-negotiables. Number 1, never push a lead-acid battery past 50% discharge, or it'll die in months instead of years. Number 2, size your wiring correctly. Thick wires prevent voltage drop and dangerous heat buildup. Number 3, always install a fuse between the battery and the inverter. High current at 12 volts means a direct short circuit is catastrophic, and a properly sized fuse stops a fire before it even starts. And number 4, turn off your inverter when you aren't using it to kill that phantom idle draw. Section 6. Your final system specs, the complete checklist. We've covered the math, the chemistry, and the physics. Let's bring it all together for our 5-hour TV and decoder setup so you know exactly what a successful build looks like. Here's your final checklist. To run a 100-watt TV and a 20-watt decoder for 5 hours at night, you need a minimum 120 amp-hour lead-acid battery or a 75 amp-hour LiFePO4 battery. You need properly sized wires that can safely handle over 10 amps continuously. You need inline fuse protection right at the battery terminal. And you need a strict awareness of your inverter's efficiency losses and idle draw. So the crucial point is this: ignoring any of these hidden factors, the inverter tax, depth of discharge, or wire sizing, guarantees underperformance or total failure. But if you follow this precision math, your system is going to be rock solid. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, but I want to leave you with a question to evaluate your own home setup. What battery are you currently using right now, lead-acid or lithium? And based on the math we just built together, how many hours does it actually last before dropping low? Take a look at your system, crunch the numbers using these exact steps, and see if you're operating safely within your limits. Thanks so much for joining me to uncover the precision engineering behind 12-volt battery sizing, and keep learning.